Uganda. Akasham, my last day as a Christian.
Akacham. Amakwa moyo yangu mani ukuta trouble. Afu moyo na kona si kama aga alo factory je ore na alo no. Ege kwa n'udokwu anti ya bụ okwu ndị abụrụ ọnụ.
Unu na alakwa na mana Chukwu. Gịnị ka m ga-eji woro chimulo? Gịnị ka m ga-eji woro chimulo? Aga m eji aja adịghị mma. Aga m eji ntu adịghị mma. Aga m eji gbamgbam na-ata nchara. Aga m eji obi mo woro chimulo. Don't mind my cracked voice because I've already said a lot today. Viewers and subscribers, so welcome back again on this platform where we tell you the undiluted gospel truth. Let me quickly respond to the respected clergyman, Father Ejike Mbaka, in his recent comment regarding my position about the Assumpta Cathedral and multiple cathedrals in Nigeria with less industries in our society. Listen to him. I'll be right back.
Amakwa moyo yangu mani ukuta trouble. So I'm waiting for that person to apologize to God and withdraw that statement. You are leading people astray. Afu moyo na kona si kama aga alo factory je ore na alo no. Ege kwa n'udokwu anti ya bụ okwu ndị abụrụ ọnụ. Unu ka na-ewu ha na-egwu ama m na ndị niile lụrụ ya weche factories. Ha na-ejecha ndị mmadụ like Ifeanyị Ụba bidoro ya. Ịma mmadụ onye Ifeanyị Ụba yere ọrụ. Ibeto ego ya dị ebe a. Ịma mmadụ onye Ibeto yere ọrụ. So ị na-ekwu okwu ime Chineke ọnụ gị ọ bụrụ na ị nọ na social media ikwutara abụmọnụ na family gị. Ọkwa Chukwu ka ị na-ejelọsị ya onye na-akọ ya na social media. Like mụ nwa lụrụ ụlọ ụka n'Ituku. Akwara afa gwa m kọmpanị ka nọ n'obodo a na East a ya ego ndị mmadụ ọrụ karịa ebe ahụ. Ọ bụrụ iwe ọnụ ịkọgheribe na-arụ ọrụ Chukwu ihe mara mma ka mmadụ nọ na social media na-akọjọ ndị lụọ ọrụ Chineke ụlọ nsọ. Dị anyị ikwutekwala onwe gị trọbụl. Amakwa m onye ahụ bụ mana ikwute trọbụl mgbe ọ ga-afịawa n'isi gị ma ebe ihe na-eme gị si eme gị. Gị na onwe gị ịma alụwu factory onye na-akọ ihe ahụ. Wicked souls nọ na social media. Ana m ekwu maka akacha m.
Good. You know, why I have to address this issue is because he pointed it directly to people like me. Like, I don't want to say myself, but to people like me. But I know that he is talking to me and those who stood by my opinion. To start with, I give kudos and credit to people like Father Ejike Baka, to people like those he mentioned, the Ibeto, Ifeanyi, and many Igbo millionaires that have built churches and also have industries running in Igbo land. I really appreciate your effort. But let us tell ourselves the gospel truth. Because since I published that video, in fact, I think yesterday, somebody took me on a long call as though he had that conversation with Ejike Mbaka before calling me. And their position is, yes, the church is not undermining industry. Yes, the church is not the problem of the society. The church is not the government that is going to... I agree with that completely. I also agree with you that some of the people who are building these churches by themselves are also creating industries in our homeland. That is also truth. But let us face the real truth. Reverend Father Ejike Mbaka, to start with, the factory that you have, you are employing a lot of labor there. If you could be sincere enough to publish your pay slip to your workers, how many of them is receiving the minimum wage to start with? You get to the point? How much are they being paid? In Nigeria today, in Igbo land today, people are still receiving as low as 30,000, 20,000, 25,000, as the case might be, as salary in Nigeria. What does that tell you? Failure of government. Failure of government. I have always said, even the church itself is richer than government in Nigeria. The Catholic Church, for instance, and other private concerns of church enterprise, as the way you might try to interpret it, whether Anglican Communion, Catholic Church, or the private sector of church enterprise, they are far richer than government in Nigeria. They can even provide, they can even cushion the impact of bad governance in this country if they decide to. If they decide to reduce the impact of poverty and hunger in our homeland. Because the billing, the responsibility of an average Nigerian living in Nigeria, matching it side by side with their daily and their monthly income or salary, it is as good as nothing. It is exploitative. So when you say you have industries, how much are they being paid, the workers? What is the per capita income of an individual living in our homeland? As against the church that can cushion that impact. People are sending their children to schools, private schools for that matter, that is exploitative, because the government standard is not obtainable. People resort to private schools. Even the church, there are private schools. People who attend that same church, who helped in building that church and the school, cannot send their children to that place because the prices are exploitative. That is our position. How much are they being paid? That is where the government, that is where the church needs to push the government, address the issue of poverty and hunger. Because I know churches always thrive when there is bad governance. When there is no school, when there is no food, when there is no job, people looking for miracle job, looking for miracle healing because they can't afford good medical treatment. In most cases, people die of preventable diseases in this country because of bad governance. So because of that, they have to resort to the church. And that is where buying of miracle materials, buying of all manner of spiritual materials, and sowing of seed and the rest of them to the church. That is how they making money. Yes, let me talk about. So that doesn't mean that there are no people who are genuinely serving God in the church, and some churches that are also making impact to humanity. It doesn't remove that there are churches that I know that does the right thing, but majority of them are doing the wrong thing, and they know it. But I will speak and panty my info because I'm the oracle of the truth. So let me not just drag this thing for too long, okay? So that it will not be na church mba. The truth is that if the church should stand and play their role in our society, our homeland will be El Dorado, will be paradise. You know the number of people that attend churches, or you match it side by side with the life of the people in Nigeria, and you see that we have hypocrites all jumping around in the name of religion. Because if you lose God, you are named as sorry. Even right inside the church, and you know it is the truth. So let us not make church building, because God doesn't live in those buildings. Gini kam geji woro chimulo. Gini kam geji woro chimulo. Aga meji aja adịghị mma. Aga meji ntu adịghị mma. Hagameji bam bam. Bamba na tanchara. Hagameji obimo. Uruchimu Lord. Don't mind my cracked voice because I've already said a lot today. But that is the song we used to sing. Use your heart to build God's abode, because that is where he lives and not under that cathedral. And that is my point. If you like, argue with it, but the truth must be said, and this is according to the word of God. Thanks be to God. My name is Undiluted Peters, your advocate for good governance. Deal with this message whatever you want to make of it, but leave the messenger out of it. Bye-bye for now.